Hello, class. This is Dr. Sharma again. I'm going over the presentation for financial statement analysis. This is the second part of the presentation. I'm working to demonstrate how to do a vertical analysis and also a common size financial statement. So now this is the demonstration problem that we're going to deal with. Given the comparative balance sheet and income statement of Crush and Drain Incorporated for the calendar years 2020 and 2021, complete a vertical analysis of the balance sheet and income statement. Now you're given the balance sheet and as well as the income statement. Now you know that we have talked about this vertical analysis, and when we talked about it, I mentioned to you that you should always be selecting a base figure. So these are the base figures. In a balance sheet, you are going to take the current total assets, not the current assets, total assets as the base figure. And when you're doing a vertical analysis of the income statement, you are going to take the sales as the base figure. So these are the base figure. That's the fundamental thing that you have to understand. In a balance sheet, we're going to take the total assets. Now, sometimes some people suggest that you should take the total liabilities and stockholders' equity while doing the liability side, but it amounts to the same, so it doesn't matter. Remember the accounting equation. It is asset is equal to liability plus stockholders' equity. Whether you take this figure or that figure, it makes no difference because they are the same. They are expected to be the same if you have drawn up your financial statements accurately. Okay, so let's go ahead and download that file. This is the Excel file which I have already created for demonstration purposes. Now let's start with the balance sheet. Now in the balance sheet, what we do is we will be doing a vertical analysis by dividing each and every line item with the base figure. So here in this case, this is the base figure. Okay, so now let's start with the calculation. You will do in Excel equal to the 250,000 divided by 572,175. Now, since we are dividing with the same figure for all the line items, it is important that you make these as an absolute number. So that's why the C11 figure, which is C and then row 11, we'll have to mask it as an absolute figure. So there are two ways of doing it. One is manually you put a dollar sign in front of C and in front of 11. So you get 43.7%. Then after you have done that, you're going to drag. Just see that there is a plus sign there, so we'll be dragging that. Once you have that plus sign, you depress your left mouse and drag it down. Now it calculates all the figures, so it is as simple as that. Now the checkpoints are whatever is the base figure, that should be 100%. So you can see the base figure was $572,175. That is 100%. So that means we have calculated that those percentages accurately. Now another thing to keep in mind is these two columns, since I'm going to calculate them as percentage, so that's why on the top you will see those are your percentages. Okay, so that is how we need to understand that concept. Now when you do the other column, you'll do the same thing. Equal to, this is 242,500 divided by the base figure, that is 611,575. Again, masking we do it. This is F4, and that is the second way of doing it. Hit enter, it calculates the percentage. You drag it down this way, so then you remove the percentage that you don't need. This they don't have any line figures, so we don't need the percentages for them. So that's how we do the vertical analysis of the balance sheet. Now we can also do the vertical analysis of the income statement. Okay, so let's go to the income statement and see the income statement. This is the income statement. As you can see, as I've said to you, sales is going to be the base figure. So if the sales is going to be the base figure, we are going to take percentage dividing all line items with that sales figure. So this is going to be, the first would be C7 divided by again C7, because that's the base figure. Now here I'm going to put a percentage so that I will be masking it. Now what I do is I drag it down and it has calculated the percentages. Now in this column, another one again will do the same thing, that is 600,000 divided by 600,000, that is column reference E7. Now I'm going to use F4 function on my keyboard. Now some of the keyboards don't have that function, so you can manually put that dollar sign in front of the reference, cell reference. That's very important. So now essentially when you look at the percentages, what you realize is net income last year was 7.6%, which essentially means the company sold $100 and made $7.6 as the net profit or net income. Now in this year, that is 2021, the current year, the net profit has gone down slightly. Now that may be because we see the cost of goods sold have increased. So that is the kind of analysis that you will be doing. Okay. Okay, I'm continuing the presentation and taking a real life example. Now, these are the statement of incomes for Chevron, as you can see here. It is Chevron and Exxon Mobil. These are two competitors in the same industry. So that's why I'm going to take this as an example to go over the vertical analysis and how we interpret the vertical analysis. So that is what we are going to do. Now let's download the file. You can work with me. I'll be uploading that with the video. So let's go ahead and download the file. You can see I have already created the format. Now again, let's repeat the whole process. Now what we are going to do is, this column I want to format as a percentage. That's why on the top you see it as a percentage. It's very important when you're doing this. So, okay, so the next one again, I'll be doing the same thing. Now after having done that, you type out all the information on your financial statements and then include each and every line item. Now, since this is a statement of income, the revenue, the total revenue is going to be the base figure. So that is why we'll be taking this figure as the base figure. So let's start the calculation. So this is going to be, again, the concept is you will be dividing each and every line item with the base figure. So let's see. This is equal to $139,865 million divided by $146,516 million. Now, as I have been saying to you, we should be making the divider as an absolute figure because we want to divide each and every line item with the same number. So I'm using F4 on my keyboard and then masking that. You can see the $2 signs in front of B and in front of 7. So enter, then you get the percentages. So now what I can do is I can just drag it down all the way down and get those numbers. Now there is no line item here, so this one I can remove it, just delete it. So let's look at what does this mean. It means that every $100 sold by Chevron, it is spending $96.2. Now, of course, energy sector is a very competitive industry, so you can understand the high cost of production. They make a profit by selling more, not having a margin as such. So that is why you can see it is only 2% um, profitability. The net income attributable to the Chevron stockholders is 2%. So what does that mean? Every $100 sold by the company, $2 is the net income. Now it doesn't mean they will distribute everything out of that, but that is the amount of net income Chevron company has made in the year 2019. Let's go and look at Exxon Mobil. Again, Exxon Mobil, the total revenue and other income is your base figure. So we are going to use that as a base figure. So using the same concept, I'm going to do line item divided by the base figure. So again, the base figure should be masked as an absolute figure. So you have a dollar sign in front of that. We calculated the percentage, and now I can just drag it down and get this figure. So this is going to be, again, I will delete that 0% because there is no line item across, so that's why I don't need to calculate the percentage. Now again, you can see the cost, total cost and other deductions is still 92.4%. That's ExxonMobil seems to be doing better than Chevron in terms of cost. So that is because the percentage is 92.4% and the net income is again 5.4%. So that is how we understand these vertical analysis. So when you're interpreting the information, what you're going to look at is what is the percentage of each line item. So now let's do a common size income statement. Now we talked about that theoretically. Common size financial statement is we don't have the dollar amounts, we just take the percentages. Now it's very important that we take only those line items where which are comparable. So that is why now if there are different types of expenses, we rather take the total expenses or total cost to see what is the comparison. So because we want to make a comparison of the two companies, so let's start with the revenue and other. Of course, revenues, both of them are 100%, but I'm going to bring those numbers from here. So I'm D7 is 100%, so I'm going to bring that down. Similarly, for Exxon, I'm going to do 100%. So I'm bringing that down. Now, total cost and other deduction for Chevron, it was, let's go up and see, this is 96.2%. And for Exxon Mobil, it is 92.4%. And then let's see the income before taxes. So income before taxes is, of course, income before taxes is 3.8%. For Chevron, let's see, for Exxon, income before taxes is 7.6%. And then income tax expense, uh, let's see, for Chevron, it is income tax expense is 1.8%. And for Exxon Mobil, it is 2%. So net income, of course, for Chevron is 1.9%, and for Exxon it is 5.6%. And then we have a non-controlling interest, so that is going to be 0.1% negative, and this is 0.2%. And then the final figure of net income attributable to Chevron is 2%, and then for Exxon Mobil it is 5.4%. Now we have these figures in front of us. So now what we can do is we can carry out some sort of a analysis. Now the analysis that you are going to do is, of course, based on the comparative figures. We don't have the dollar amounts, we just have a percentage. So, of course, these two figures are going to be 100%, so that doesn't make any interpretation. Total cost, you can see compared between the two companies, Chevron has a higher cost and Exxon Mobil has a lower cost. So, $92.4 for every $100 sold is spent on total cost and other deductions. Net income before taxes is 3.8, so that means every $100 sold by Chevron, 3.8 is the net income before taxes. Now, income tax, they spend 2% of their revenue on income tax. Now, it doesn't mean they're paying only 2% of tax. They will be paying more than 20-25% tax. But as compared to the amount of revenue they are making, it is coming to 1.8% or 2%. And then, therefore, the net income is 5.6% for Exxon and 1.9%. Now, next is the non controlling interest. Now, there is a concept known as in stock public companies, there are stockholders who have the controlling interest. Now, stockholders having more than 51% have a control over that company, so they are classified as controlling interest, and the rest are considered as non-controlling interest. Now, non-controlling interest got a 0.2% of Exxon Mobil's revenue, but in fact, for Chevron, the non-controlling interest people lost some money, so that's why you can see a negative amount. So finally, the net income attributable to the controlling interest is 2% and 5%. So the people who have the control over the company, because of the majority of their stock holding, is 5.4 and 2%. So definitely Exxon Mobil is doing much better than Chevron company. So that is the conclusion that we can draw. And that income, higher income in terms of profitability, is because largely of the cost control mechanism. So that is something that you have to keep in mind while doing a common size financial statement. So in case of a common size financial statement, what we do is we draw up a list of comparables and calculate the percentage. If you are doing a vertical analysis as well as a common size income statement or a balance sheet, you don't have to recalculate the percentage. But if you're doing it only, the common size income statement will follow the same pattern. For an income statement, you will divide each line item you have selected by the total revenue. So that's how we carry out your comparison based on a real life example that I showed it to you. So, with that, I come to an end of my presentation. Hope you will find this presentation useful. I'll be seeing you again.